Charlotte works as a waitress at Mr. Margarita Town but isn't happy with her job. While enjoying the night breeze outside with her co-worker and roommate, Helen, a man passes by. Helen, who's high, draws his attention because of the food he's holding. He introduces himself as Adam and gives Helen one of his plates. Before leaving, he asks for Charlotte's name, and there's an instant spark between them. Later, Helen notices Adam looking lost through the window and urges Charlotte to check on him. When she does, Adam explains that he lost his phone. Charlotte hands him hers to check its location, and he confirms it's at home. He then suggests they grab a drink at Mr. Margarita's Town, but Charlotte shares that's her place of work, making him suggest a bar instead. Charlotte hesitates, but when Helen shouts from the window to live a little, she agrees. At the bar, Adam reveals he's an entrepreneur taking a break from work. They hit it off instantly, and Adam asks if she wants to stay over at his place. Charlotte finds this strange, so Adam instead suggests they go painting. They run to the side of the street and start creating designs on the wall with wallpaper and spray paint. Adam stencils a heart onto the wallpaper and tells Charlotte it will make sense to her someday. When he admits he's sad their night has to end, she suggests they make it last as long as possible. Drawn to their undeniable chemistry, she agrees to go to his house. When they arrive, they meet his friend Stacy, who mentions that Adam forgot to lock the front door again. She also tells him she left some notes before heading out. Charlotte is surprised by the apartment, and Adam puts on some music. As they start slow dancing, she admits the moment feels oddly familiar for two people who barely know each other. Adam reveals that it feels like they've been together for years, and Charlotte indulges him by painting a scenario of their first meeting. Their sweet moment soon leads to a passionate kiss, and they take things further. They spend the rest of the night laughing and enjoying each other's company. Before falling asleep, Adam wonders if he has asked her to marry him yet, but Charlotte replies that she always tells him not yet whenever he asks. The next morning, Charlotte gets a call from her mom inviting her to dinner, and she quickly agrees. When she goes to check on Adam, she finds him in the kitchen, looking distressed. Adam tells Charlotte she isn't really his girlfriend, and she assures him she knows the previous night wasn't real before getting ready to leave. He questions why she lied about them being together, but she's confused since he was the one who wanted her to. Done with the conversation, she storms off. Back home, she tells Helen about the situation and invites her to dinner at her parents' house. Later, during dinner, Charlotte's dad expresses his displeasure about her job, but she surprises everyone by revealing she has a career path in mind. Her mom shares that her brother Chucky set up a dating profile for her, making Helen excitedly grab the laptop to check it out. Charlotte rushes after her and is appalled by the profile Chucky created. Helen offers to fix it, and they both return to the dining table. She reads out the updated version, but Charlotte admits she'll probably delete it the next day since she's taking a break from dating. She doesn't think meeting someone through an app will give her life the direction she wants and heads to her room. The next day, while walking home with Helen, Charlotte comes across the mural she made with Adam and notices he has added a paper doll design to it. She admits she told Adam that her dad calls her paper doll and wonders if Adam is trying to reach out to her. Helen points out that he knows where she lives, so if he wanted to, he would have. Dismissing it, she pulls Charlotte along. At home, Helen tries to get Charlotte to move on and reads out a message from Seth, a guy on the dating app. Charlotte isn't interested, but Helen refuses to take no for an answer and calls him instead. With no other choice, Charlotte talks to Seth and they agree to meet at his football practice since, according to her profile, thanks to Helen, she loves football. The next day, Charlotte and Helen arrive at the stadium, but are caught off guard when they realize Seth isn't one of the players. Instead, he's the team's mascot, dressed in a full night costume. Afterward, Helen instantly hits it off with Roddy, one of the players, while Seth tries to explain his role on the team to Charlotte. She admits she isn't really into football, but Seth already knew that. This makes her question why he messaged her if he knew her profile was fake. He admits he finds her beautiful and wants a chance to get to know her. She suggests a race, and they end up having fun running across the field. Later, Charlotte pulls a love-struck Helen away from Roddy so they can head home. The next morning, Charlotte is shocked to find Roddy in the house. Helen admits she invited him over during the night and reveals that he asked her to move in with him. Surprisingly, she accepted. Charlotte is confused since Helen barely knows him. Helen insists she really likes him, so Charlotte warns Roddy to make sure he doesn't hurt her. The next morning, Charlotte works her shift alone and returns home to find Chucky in the house. She is confused by his presence, and Helen reveals he's her new roommate since she's already moving out. Shocked by how fast everything is happening, Charlotte questions what Helen plans to do with her life, especially since she also quit her job. Helen urges Charlotte to be happy for her, insisting that one of them had to move out sooner or later. She pulls her into a warm hug, assuring her she's still her best friend, before heading downstairs to meet Roddy, who is waiting for her. Charlotte falls into her usual routine over the next few days until she gets a surprise visit from Seth while dyeing her mom's hair at home. He explains that he brought takeout to cheer her up after Roddy mentioned she's been feeling down about Helen moving out. She asks him to give her a few minutes, then heads inside to get dressed. Before leaving, she reminds her mom to wash out the dye after 20 minutes and then heads out with Seth. He takes Charlotte to see the mural, and she notices Adam has added another drawing to it. The sight leaves her with a bittersweet feeling, and she admits she wants to go back home. Seth offers to walk her back, and once they reach her apartment, asks if she wants him to keep calling her. Charlotte doesn't feel a real connection with him because she clearly isn't over Adam, but she assures him she does anyway before heading inside. Her shifts at work continue, and at the end of the day, her boss, John, informs her that she'll have to cover more shifts now that Helen has quit. Frustrated, she barely has time to process it before Stacy walks in. Stacy reveals that Adam told her where to find Charlotte and hands her a letter he wrote right after she left him that morning. As she reads it, Charlotte quickly learns that Adam has a brain tumor and limited time left. Without hesitation, she rushes to the hospital and becomes emotional when she sees how much his condition has affected him. Adam is happy to see her again, and she struggles to understand why he never told her sooner. Adam admits he didn't want Charlotte to run away from him or stay out of pity. Most of the tumor has been removed, so his brain is functioning better, but he still has to stay in the hospital since he doesn't have much time left. Charlotte asks about his family, but his dad is too consumed by work, and his mom finds the situation too difficult to face. She admits she was originally planning to tell him off for his attitude, unaware of what he was going through. Adam tries to get the details from her, but before she can explain, he suddenly gets a seizure. Panicked, Charlotte is rushed out of the room by Nurse Leah so she can attend to him. Later that night, Adam stabilizes, and with Charlotte by his side, he tells her he can't paint anymore. Overwhelmed by emotion, she climbs into bed with him, holding him in a comforting embrace. The next morning, Helen visits the hospital, and Charlotte takes her to see Adam. However, seeing how weak he is, Helen doesn't stay long. Charlotte walks her to the elevator to see her off. She notices the engagement ring on Helen's finger and congratulates her with a warm embrace. Helen wonders if Charlotte is already falling for Adam since she quit her job, and reminds her that she still has her whole life ahead of her. But Charlotte wants to stay with Adam and suggests that Helen get going instead. Back in the room, Charlotte asks Leah if she can take Adam outside the hospital for a while. Though hesitant at first, Leah eventually agrees under the condition that they return within 2 hours since she needs to check his vitals. Charlotte takes Adam to the beach, where they enjoy each other's company, laughing and soaking in the moment. He asks what their life would look like after they get married, and Charlotte indulges him, painting a picture of their happy future with wonderful children. Overcome with emotion, she begins to tear up, and Adam comforts her before suggesting they head back. As soon as they arrive at the hospital, he develops a severe headache. Nurse Leah immediately tends to him, and Charlotte tries to help, but Adam insists she leave, not wanting her to see him in pain. Later that night, after he stabilizes, Charlotte lays next to him. Wrapped in each other's warmth, they share an intimate moment, completely lost in their love. The next morning, Charlotte tells Adam about a clinical trial, but he's fed up with staying in the hospital. He wants to go somewhere with her, but after what happened last time, she doesn't want to risk it. Adam insists on taking a trip with her, arguing that the hospital isn't extending his life in any meaningful way, and that he can't just wait there until the inevitable. Back home, Chucky reveals that their dad has offered to cover her bills until she finds a new job, recognizing that she's focused on taking care of Adam. Touched, Charlotte calls her dad to express her gratitude. He asks how she's holding up, and she assures him she'll be fine and will pay him back soon before ending the call. Just then, she gets a text from Adam asking her to meet him at the mural. She's surprised to find him there, and he explains that the hospital can't force him to stay. He urges her to look at the mural, and she's stunned to see that he has proposed to her through his artwork. Adam tells her she is his perfect place, no matter what happens. Overwhelmed with emotion, Charlotte happily agrees to marry him and leans in for a passionate kiss. Adam takes Charlotte on a boat trip, and they both enjoy the beauty of nature. She gently removes his cap and kisses his scar, then asks if he's scared. He admits that after their time together, he'll be gone. Charlotte refuses to accept this, reminding him that people live on in the hearts and lives of their loved ones. Adam likes this thought and kisses her. He asks her to promise that she'll move on and find happiness when he's gone, but she hesitates, afraid he'll let go if she does. He comforts her with a deep kiss, grateful for their time together. Later that evening, while taking his pain meds, Adam reveals he didn't make it to the clinical trial, leaving Charlotte saddened. The next morning, while lounging on the boat, Charlotte thanks him for bringing her there. They play a mimicking game, laughing and holding each other, cherishing the moment. But the trip was just a scenario. In reality, Adam passes away in the hospital, in Charlotte's arms. In the days that follow, she has the mural taken down and sinks into deep grief, unable to do anything but lie on the couch, lost in her sorrow. Her mom and dad try to talk to her separately, but she's too consumed by grief and just wants to be alone. Some days later, Helen manages to get her to eat something and tries to lift her spirits by bringing up the upcoming wedding. She apologizes for the timing, but admits she needs her best friend there. Charlotte reassures her that she'll be fine and promises to be at the wedding. The next day, while passing by the now scrubbed-off mural, she writes that she wishes Adam was there before heading off. The wedding is beautiful, filled with love and joy. During the reception, Charlotte runs into Seth, who asks how she's doing. She struggles to find an answer, so he lightens the mood by suggesting a game of truth or dare. When her turn comes, she picks truth. He asks where she's been, and she reveals that she got married, not legally, but in her heart. She admits she's now a widow, and Seth expresses his sympathy. She asks if he believes in soulmates, and he does, though he thinks a person can have more than one. Different people connect to different parts of someone, and Charlotte finds comfort in this idea. He invites her to dance, and she joins the others on the dance floor, letting go of her grief and enjoying a great time together. In that moment, Charlotte allows herself to feel joy again, knowing that Adam will always be in her heart.